Gambatsola is a typical starter blue, triple creme, very smooth, very creamy, not strong in the blue department. Made by a company called Champion, and you would expect them to be somewhere in France, but they're in Bavaria, Germany.
All right.
None of their cheeses have a German name. They all have French or Italian sounding names.
Huh.
Gambatsola sounds Italian.
Yes, it does.
It's basically a play on camembert and gorgonzola.
Okay.
So it's a very creamy gorgonzola style cheese. Not very strong, not very tangy. It's a great creamy cheese.
Or you can just see it.
So I sent you crackers, right? I sent you crackers and I sent you some jams to
Yep, you did.
cleanse your palate with.
You want a cracker or do you want to get a fork?
I'll get a fork.
This is one of my favorites.
Cavazzola, yeah, I know you've had it before.
Yep. I have very attentive dogs by my feet.
All of them, or is the one in the cage?
2 of them are attentive. One of them sleeping. The other one is crate and can't be participating in this at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was not one of those Malbecs.
No? Oops.
Oops. It's an oops.
That's one of my favorites. You don't like it?
I do.
Quite a few years ago, I discovered Carmenere. Do you know Carmenere?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that wine. You can't really go wrong with that. It's never very tanniny, so it's always good. It's always nice and smooth.
Except when you pair it with the wrong cheese, in which case it could be a disaster.
Oh yes, yeah. You can go wrong in many ways in that respect. Yeah. So I would try that with the fig and cocoa. That might actually work. I saw that painful expression.
I was trying to get it out. I was trying to get it open.
Thank you.
I like those little pots of jams. We now have little pots from Bon Mago to the curry, the chutneys.
Mm-hmm.
They're really nice.
What do you think? Fig and cocoa?
Yeah.
At first you think they're going to drown each other out, but then they don't.
No,
They're nice.
Very good.
So that's Gambatzola from Bavaria.
So weird.
If Ken ever wants to gradually try to get himself into blue cheese, that's probably a cheese that he can start off with. It's not that strong.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So this, if you like Point Reyes, you might like the next one too. It's from Massachusetts. It's a raw milk blue cheese, so you already have a lot more flavor because of the raw milk. And I like this cheese. It's smooth. It's not, some of the blues are really raw. You bite into them and you think you're biting into aluminum foil. But this one's nice and smooth. It has a lot of complexity, but it's not really in your face. So I like this one a lot. This is one of my favorite blues.
And this is the Great Hill.
Talk about the history of blue, or did you already read the story?
I did read the story. Do you want to?
All right.
Sure.
Yeah, Michael wants to hear the story.
Hear the story. No, let's have your mom do it. You know,
No, I'm not ready.
see whether
I need
she
some more
retained
practice
it.
before that. No. I'll screw it up. You do it.
This is what happens very often in the store too. You know, somebody comes in the store or at the door, as we now have, and they say, "Yeah, I was at such and such this party, and they had this cheese," and then they tell you the story about the cheese, and you have no idea what cheese this is because they mixed up 3 different cheeses in the store.
Yeah.
So you have to ask questions. What color did it have? So that's what happens with these stories too. The same with the people that work in the store when they first start working for us. They also tell this because we're all telling stories about the cheese. So they tell these stories about the cheese, and I always have to tell them afterwards. Great story, loved it, very good. However, the facts are
Wrong cheese.
you were close, but
Yeah.
you need to polish it up a little bit.
See, that's why you have to tell it. All right.
Right, yeah.
You're doing the Great Hill Blue. Is that the one we're doing next?
The Great Hill Blue is the one you're trying next, yes.
Okay. So while we do this, you can tell Michael the story.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny that you eat a cheese that's all moldy. Right? Normally you would say, well, that's a moldy cheese, I'm not going to eat that. But here we are. And what's even worse, it's a penicillium. So, you know, some people are extremely allergic to it. So it can kill you if you're so inclined. So they don't know when it was really discovered. Ranges anywhere from the year 0 to the year 1000, or even 1250. I always put it somewhere around the year 1000. We really don't know what happened. There are many myths around how we discovered the mold. The most likely story is that it was by accident, and that the accident happened in the caves where this mold naturally occurs. And it's actually in caves in a big chalky mountain in the Auvergne region. And what we think may have happened, the most likely story, is that someone had a piece of bread in these caves, possibly right next to a piece of cheese, because this mold does not naturally form on the cheese. So if you left the cheese in the cave, it would not normally get the mold. You have to transfer the mold through the medium of, for instance, bread. So the most likely story is someone was sitting in the cave, having lunch, bread, cheese right next to each other, were interrupted, left the cave, only to come back a couple of weeks later. Maybe they were in that same region and said, oh, hey, ho, I know that cave. I have lunch in there. So they go into the cave, see that a blue mold has formed on the bread. Because the bread and the cheese were touching, the mold had wandered onto the cheese. Biggest question I always have with these things, these accidental discoveries. So someone saw a bit of cheese full of mold and thought, great, I'm going to eat that.
Well, there was no other lunch around, you understand.
Apparently they were hungry. So they ate it, liked it. So that's how we think it happened. So for the longest time, the only way they could make this cheese was by putting bread in a cave. Let the mold form, take the bread out, scrunch it all up, and rub it on the outside of the cheese.